Hey, this is the first video I'm making in a series of videos about drawing people. I am no expert at drawing people. I have been practicing a lot though, because I want to make a graphic novel. So I want to share some tips that have helped me. The first thing is people watching. Pick a spot where you can see people. These types of windows are the best because people can't usually see you and they just go about their business. But you can also really do it at any cafe or at any place with people, because part of the exercise is to capture things quick. Don't be embarrassed. I know it can be embarrassing, but just don't think about it. Most people won't say anything or won't even notice. These are a few examples of things I've drawn in my sketchbook. Especially when we're in the auditorium, I usually draw the backs of people, and it's when you have the most time to copy a person because they won't notice. So this is actually a two-part exercise. One is capturing the gist of a person and how they were standing or sitting when you saw them, with as few lines as possible and very quick. So what you remember and what you saw, you try to put it down quickly in your sketchbook. Then the second part of the exercise is actually completing the sketch. So you'll get better at both this way, at capturing things really fast and also at detailing a simple sketch once you're done. My sketches usually look really terrible and you can't really understand anything when I first put them down on paper, but that's okay. It's just practice. Nobody has to see them, you don't have to upload them or anything. Pay attention to how they're standing and don't draw them floating. If they're sitting in a chair, if they're leaning against a wall, try to draw even a hint of that. The key is that the person you're watching will move and will not be posing, forcing you to be really quick and capture a pose. And whatever's missing, you'll be forced to complete it with your memory and or imagination. So for me, the way this has helped is that it helps my drawing be less stiff. The second thing I would recommend is to go to a live drawing session. If you can't go to a live drawing session, ask someone to pose for you, if they're up for it. Actually, drawing naked people is super important, I think, because it helps you place your characters in realistic positions and have good proportions for when you draw them with clothes. But even if you can't, try to do it anyways with clothes. Even if you do really cartoony or exaggerated drawings and you think you don't want to draw realistically, being able to draw a real person proportionately will let you choose to draw them like that, but not be forced to do it because you can't do it any other way. If you do have a live drawing session, I would give these tips: to divide it in many short poses, like 1 minute to 5 minutes. And then a few medium poses, 5 to 10 minutes, and one long pose, more than 15 minutes. But use a timer and be super strict with it. Being forced to do it in a certain amount of time not also helps your model rest and everything, but it will make you draw differently and make different choices while you're drawing. I identify the things that I have trouble drawing because it's usually what takes me more time. The next tip would be to move around, sit on the floor or in a chair, change your height and perspective. Move around your model. Draw him from the back, from the front, from below. Also try to use a bigger paper. This one really works for the previous exercise as well. Drawing in a bigger paper than you're used to also makes your hand and your brain work differently, and it takes a lot of practice and skill, and it's a lot easier to work big and then scale it down than do it the other way around. So this practice will help you a lot in the end, no matter what the size of your usual illustrations are. And my final tip would be to look at your drawing from further away, more than you usually do. Like put it somewhere and take a few steps back, and that way you'll see what's wrong with your proportion and your perspective, and it'll be more easy to pinpoint what you want to change. And the final exercise I practice and I would recommend would be to draw from actual reference.
In the house, so that is what I'm going to do first.
Try using a video or movie and draw people you see, but without pausing it. It's super tough, but it's also a great way to capture the expressions and poses quickly. Even if you do this last one, I still recommend try drawing real people as well, and a lot more, because you will always have reference and we will always use it. So the other ones are like more intense practice. But when you do use reference from screens or books or whatever, I think it's easier to calculate the size, and you'll probably mimic the proportions of your reference. But doing it with real life forces you to size down and choose what you want to draw, and it's a lot harder. So when you're drawing from the screen, for example, the things I do to make it a little bit more challenging and to practice different skills is to start from different parts. Try to start the drawing from a different place. For example, if you notice that you always tend to start from the shape of the head or the nose or the face or the hands, try to start from the shoulders or from the neck. Don't be too careful with your sketches. Don't worry about them looking good. Here I'm showing my perfecto sketches or the longer poses, but there are lots of examples that I don't show, and I draw horrible sketches all the time. But they're important practice, and it will serve you in all your work, even if the outcome of the practice does not look pretty. So this was all for this video. I hope you liked it and you're having a good February. See you soon. Bye!